Alvarez from KROQ, and joining me are Dom and Matt from Muse.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Gentlemen, I've waited a long time to sit down with you. I've been a Muse fan forever, and for some reason, I was very intimidated because of what you do on stage and the kind of music that you put out. I imagine that you'd walk in here wearing like a cloak and riding the rings of Saturn.
Oh man, if I knew, I would have. If I'd known that's what you wanted, I would have, like, you know.
This guy walks in like he's just straight out of like Hawaii.
Straight from the beach.
He's the dude.
It's just nice to know because, like I said, to me, Muse is larger than life. You know, you come with your own soundtrack and soundscapes. That's how I see you, and I always have. And anytime I talk to anybody about you, either mutual friends or fans or whomever, they all say the same thing. They're the nicest guys. They're the sweetest guys. They're the nicest guys. And you don't have to be, but I'm wondering, what is it that keeps you absolutely grounded?
Yeah, well, it would be a shame if we were wankers, though, wouldn't it?
But in this business,
Waking up at 6 with my daughter every day, basically.
that keeps
changing,
you humble.
yeah, changing my daughter at 6 in the morning, 2-year-old baby. That keeps me pretty grounded. I don't know, really. I mean, I think probably each other to some extent. You know, we went to high school together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we knew each other when we really were like. I mean, we're not that cool now, but we really were not cool at all back then. So we've known each other since we were 14. Or something?
Yeah, maybe 13, 12, I don't know, who knows. But yeah, it's something about the longevity of just a really long relationship like that, knowing someone for so long. It's
You keep it real.
Yeah, you have to,
Yeah.
really, because you've known each other way before any, band success or anything like that, so you've always got that point in time to reference
every time I go out on stage wearing an LED jacket, glasses, and I've got like my power glove on. You know? Every time I have to walk past him to get out. I have to walk past him to get down the thrust. You know what I mean? To get where the crowd is. And I'm walking out there, and I just see him, and he just and he gives me this look, and I know what his look is. He's like, "You stupid twat."
Well, that's how I thought you were going to walk in here.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I know that you two have known each other for so long, and to some degree, I think people hear the word soulmate and they think of your significant other that you might get naked with, but you two, on a different level.
We've seen each other naked.
On a different level, though, you're soulmates, albeit musical soulmates, whatever, but what you've gone through and what you've built together, that's pretty cool. So when you look back at high school could you have imagined that the journey would be this long and that this would be the journey?
Oh, God. I mean, I think, probably not. We probably never would have imagined it, but I think we always wanted it. I think even back, I definitely got memories of being very young and for sure believing that we could get there if we stuck together. I think. But.
Yeah, no, I never thought we'd be going like this long. I think back then our dream was to sell out the theatre in Exeter that was 500 people or something. Like that was our dream.
You blew past that.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of spiraled a little bit from there. Never would have guessed we'd be doing it the whole life pretty much.
Yeah,
and I feel like you're going to go a lot further, by the way.
Cool.
I can just tell by the body language. So to me, an album cycle is in 3 acts. The first one would be conception and recording. The second would be the album itself, and then the third, the tour. I want to go back to Act 1 of Will of the People. You didn't have to do anything. You could have just ridden out a pandemic or whatever, the hiatus, and yet it was born. How? And whose idea was it to just get back in there?
I think everyone was on the same page in the world. I mean, I think that everyone was locked down for a long period of time, and just we started to really miss making music, really miss each other, at that point there was a point where you're thinking are we ever going to tour again? What's going on?
Soulmates.
So I've got three dogs. I've got 3 dogs, and as soon as I dressed, they jumped on me before I left the house. So
it's okay.
I didn't get the chance to lint roll. What were we talking about?
We're talking about when you decided
So
to make the album.
It was very. I had a baby in the middle of the pandemic, so June 2020.
You look great, by the way, for having a child.
I didn't do the work, trust me. I had the easy part. It was shortly after that. I think we started to get together, and it was the US was going through a very unusual time at that point. And I think that probably had an impact as well. You know, we had lots of riots going on, lots of instability and kind of concerns, and then we had that whole January situation.
Bloody mess.
In
We were a
21.
bloody mess.
Yeah, and it was like, to be honest with you, on the last album we kind of veered a little bit into kind of more like fantasy fiction, kind of simulation theory kind of stuff. And we kind of were veering off a little bit. We weren't going anywhere near the politics, if you know what I mean. But then kind of what happened in the world just kind of forced us back into that place a little bit. But I think more than that, it was just we felt so lucky, you know, for what we had, because you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Correct.
You know? And so I think during that year there was that feeling of like, wow, those shows, they seem so far away now. You know, like being up on stage, all those people together, sweating together. It seems so kind of far away from the new reality that we were living in. I think the appreciation and how much we missed it made us want to get back together again and make music. Yeah.
When so who do you call first, and was there one particular event that happened maybe in the world or in the United States, because I feel like we were the hottest of all the messes, that triggered the first thing that you wrote for the album?
I can't think of a specific event. I mean, we started making demos and towards the end of 2020. I think there probably there was a lot of riots going on, because our studio's right in the middle of Santa Monica, right? So downtown Santa Monica. So there was definitely a lot going on in the streets there, you know. And I think when I saw like military trucks coming in and like our studio everything got boarded up, you know, and you start seeing like people walking around with machine guns. You know, we're from England where the police don't even have a gun. You know what I mean? Like the police have like a little wooden stick. You know, it's like,
don't do that.
Like they're running into like an armed robbery or something, and they're going like, stop that
right now.
Otherwise I'm going to hit you with my stick. You know, so our background is very like, let's say, America's edgier. Do you know what I mean? Like there's more, you know, and so we've lived here for like 10 or 12 years now, and so that moment was like peak America craziness. Do you know what I mean? It was like, you know, I never saw I see the day like outside the studio where we're working, like armed, you know, what do you call them, home guard, I guess, like, you know, tanks and shit. Do you know what I mean? Like machine guns, people in full gear walking around like boarded up. I thought I was in RoboCop. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, so I think that was probably right as we began. Yeah.
It's funny that you called us edgy, and I just think we're messy, but thank you for saying edgy makes us sound a lot cooler here in the United States of America.
Well, I mean, I love it. You know, I love the US. I've been here for 12 years now, and I think, you know, there's a good side to that edge. I mean, like risk takers. I mean, you're like risk takers, people who like kind of think they can change the world. Like everyone's dreaming of something, especially over here on the West Coast. You know. Yeah, like everyone's like dreaming they're going to be like.
This is where the dreamers hang out.
The next big director, you know, actor, or like some kind of new tech company or something. Yeah. It's an amazing place full of crazy risk takers, but obviously with that you actually do get crazy as well. So, but I think it's kind of like, you know, it balances itself out.
Yep, you're correct. So as far as the trajectory for Will of the People, were you always on the same page? It's interesting. I just realized to maintain relationships, you really do have to be on the same page in a band that takes on a whole new form, because you're creating together, but you each have your separate ideas. So were you on the same page the entire ride?
I believe so. Yeah. I don't.
So you're laughing why?
Yeah, because I don't think we've ever had any like major creative, like, you know, loggerhead moments or anything like that. You know, we've always, don't know, we always seem to be on the same path. We'll have the same goal, but, you know, sometimes take slightly different paths to get there. But yeah, I think once we started, you know, like hanging around with a few musical ideas and playing them, you know, we naturally, you know, that becomes a very instinctual thing to do, just once we start kind of jamming on ideas and playing. And what naturally seems to come out is normally quite heavier sounding music. You know, if we're just going to jam in a room, we're going to play a riff of some kind. That's normally what we'd default to. So once we started doing that and playing around with some of the ideas and the demos, I think the direction of the record just became really apparent, that we wanted it to be a bit more, you know, slightly rawer, heavier, and, you know, a bit more like down to earth, I suppose, in the way it sounds, opposed to like sci-fi and fantasy like the last record.
Well, and then you have these moments like Ghosts and Verona that also, I mean, I look at the track listing actually for Will of the People, and it's the best of everything you do. There's a little bit of every one of your eras sewn into this. Starting with Will of the People is amazing, because I just want to join whatever army you're leading. Like it is, it's just, it feels almost like a rebel yell. And I love it so much. And then, well, the way you end the record, if ever there was a phrase for modern day life, it's "we are fucking fucks," right?
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to play that next week, I hope. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts in there. You're right in saying that it kind of, we did agree on direction on this album because we kind of wanted to, it's the first time we really decided to listen back to the history of Muse, if you know what I mean. Like every album we've done, we've always tried to just find new ground, find new ideas, new sounds. This was the first album where we sort of went, actually, what does Muse sound like? Well, let's listen to ourselves a little bit, and we sort of went back through everything we've ever done and kind of picked out our favourite moments, but in particular the sort of favourite moments that we felt that we could improve upon,
Okay.
And so that was really the approach we took, it was like we wanted to make almost like a kind of best of Muse type album or something like that, but with obviously all new tracks,
Mission accomplished. That brings me to Act 3, which is the tour. I remember the first Muse show I ever went to, I left there feeling like that wasn't a concert, that was an experience. And now Muse shows are just, oh God, you're going to step into another dimension. So as far as Will of the People, what came first, the album or the idea behind where you wanted to take it once you hit the road? What came first, the chicken or the egg? That's kind of the question I'm asking.
I don't know. Really. They both come together. I mean, like it's we've been such a long-term touring act. That like what we do on stage and what we do in the studio is kind of, there's not much differentiation. It's like we know what we're doing in the studio. We hope that we're going to get to play it to people. So therefore, that has a direct influence on the kinds of songs, like things like the chanting in Will of the People. Like we're imagining the crowd with us, doing that, and some of the songs kind of are written with the idea of being with a big audience and everyone singing along, so that can't help but seep into the making of the album, I think.
It's you keep yourselves on your toes, because not only are you singing the songs and playing the instruments, but you also, the production is so massive that you have to take that into account. So you're actually not just enjoying yourself, but I imagine sometimes you're working, like you're actually like, I have to be all in this. Has there ever been anything that's backfired or snafu where you're like, I'm never doing this again?
I mean, in a production.
On the road.
Oh yeah, we've had our fair share of Spinal Tap moments. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, the Resistance tour, we had these 3 towers.
Mm-hmm, I remember.
I don't know if you saw the LA show, but the LA show, big LA show, everyone's excited. And beginning of the show, there's these large kind of, we call them socks basically, but they're basically large, like what do you call them, like kabukis or something. And they drop down and reveal the 3 band members on these big 3 platforms that are like really, really high. My one came down and landed on my head right in the middle of singing Uprising, and I was like, I just couldn't shake it off. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I did the whole song in a giant sock basically. Yeah, and that was our big sort of debut LA Resistance moment. You know what I mean? And I was like
covered up. And then it ripped. I mean, the thing is, they look cool, but they're like scary as shit when you're up there, because they're like wobbly and you're pretty high up.
And the platforms are supposed to go down. Yeah. And so the platforms took Dom and Chris down, but they left me up there because they weren't sure what to do with the big thing on my head. Yeah. And then they eventually took me back down again, and it fell off, and then they lifted me back up again right as the song finished. I was just like,
and you have to stay in character.
We've had a few of those kinds of things. Yeah.
I mean, on the Drones tour,
Oh God.
we did on that record. We're in the arenas, so we had all of these drones flying around.
But the giant inflatables.
Big inflatable things.
With like drone propellers on them, and they're supposed to like float around.
And they're meant to be choreographed, which was all kind of programmed and stuff, so they can move around and go into different positions and this, that and the other. It was wicked when it worked.
Yeah, when it
but
worked.
I feel like the tech was a bit edgy.
Well, the first show in Mexico. Like the crowd just grabbed one of them, just like grabbed them straight down, like ripped it to pieces, and it was like propellers flying
pretty
everywhere.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I don't think they'd compensated for like weird RF like interference with the drones. But we had this huge plane that came out and was meant to kind of circle around the venue, but that crashed into the audience a few times. Fortunately, it was inflatable.
When you go to your label or whoever, when you have these ideas, and when you go to the people that are paying, when you're going to the people that are like paying for the huge vision, I mean, I would pay to be in a room where somebody's just looking at you like, wait, you want to do what? Have you ever wanted to do something that most everybody in your camp's like, no, absolutely not happening?
Oh yeah, that's happened a lot of times. Yeah, I mean, again going back to Resistance tour, we ended up with these 3 platforms. The original idea was a huge, large kind of matrix prison type thing that was in the middle of the venue that basically rotated around very slowly, and we were in kind of trapped inside a prison essentially that was rotating around the center of the venue, and it had all these different moving platforms in it. And then we saw the budget,
Oof. And then you were like, yeah,
And it was
no.
like, oh, okay, right, we'd have to sell out planet Earth in order to pay for this.
I'm sure you could,
So we ended up
Bellamy.
cutting it back and cutting it back and cutting it back until we ended up with just 3 platforms basically, and that was it. But yeah, we always start with big ideas and then you end up scaling.
And then
back,
you have to scale down a little
Yeah.
bit. So now on the other side of Will of the People, you still haven't really taken it out. But as far as the album itself, where does the experience of it fall in the grand scheme of the Muse library?
I mean,
What did you learn? What would you say is the one takeaway that is the biggest gift for you for making this album?
Oh, interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to throw in some
Yeah,
stuff that you
that's-
haven't
I
been
like
asking
it.
for.
I like it.
What's the biggest gift this album's given to you?
The biggest gift. I would say it's I mean, there's like, Muse has got such a wide range of stuff that we've done. You know what I mean, and I think there's probably plenty of stuff we've done that kind of maybe some people, even we would now agree that maybe is like not Muse, if you know what I mean. But I think with this album we really honed it down to like what is the essence of what
What is
we do,
Muse?
what is Muse. Yeah, and I think that if anything that was the gift of it. It was like it's the probably not since maybe the mid 2000s. It was the album where I feel like we really nailed who we are and what we are. Something like that.
Okay, can I ask you a bonus question before I let you go? Do you have a favorite Muse song? I love talking to people about Muse songs because you tell a lot about what they listen for.
I mean,
I can start.
whatever or on the new album. Oh, okay, yeah, you
I
go.
can start. No, of all time. It's a tie. It's a dead tie between Map of the Problématique and Thoughts of a Dying Atheist.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great
Yeah.
choices. I like the deep
Driving
cuts.
to Thoughts of a Dying Atheist on the 101 freeway at night with little traffic is it's so
Brilliant.
good.
I love that.
Try it.
That's cool.
Map. Maybe
Yeah.
you're coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
I'll play one of those. I'll play one of those for you.
Okay.
That's probably my favourite song title of all time.
Which one?
Thoughts of a Dying Atheist.
Same.
You say
Same.
that's your favourite.
Favourite song title.
Song title.
Oh right, yeah.
But is there just one that you're the most connected to? Like at the end of, like if you had to bury it underground for people to find it 50 years from now, this is the song.
Nights of Sidonia, maybe.
It's a pretty good one.
That's
Yeah.
still, I mean, it's still, we're finding it hard to not play that last at every show.
It's a good,
And it's
good
the,
power move.
yeah, exactly. It's the moment when it kicks in at the end is a tough one to kind of match.
Yeah.
And both like in the gig or like musically with anything new as well. But yeah, I love that.
All right.
It
Matt?
still feels.
Oh yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't pick
It's
one.
It's
difficult.
like picking
Yeah.
a child. I'm putting you on the
yeah,
spot.
yeah,
What
I mean,
what
from
an
the-
a-hole I am. I'm sorry.
From the new album, I would pick, if I had to pick one for the new album, I'd probably pick something like Verona, but the reason why I might be picking that is because we haven't played it yet and I'm very excited about playing it, and it's probably the one that I listen to the most if I'm sort of thinking about how to do the set list next year for the show.
Okay.
But overall, maybe I would pick Starlight, maybe.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, just because we don't dabble in positive love much. But when we do, it's a good thing, and I like it for that reason. Yeah.
It is, and it's such a great live moment. I just want to say thank you. You've been such a part of the KROQ family specifically.
We thank you.
We've had so many experiences with Muse over the years, and I look forward to having more, but also you guys are just badasses. And next time we sit down, I want cloaks or nothing at all.
I'll come in my LED jacket. How about
Promise?
that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll be fully lit
As
up.
long as he's laughing at you the whole time.
No, I will be. Don't
That'll
worry.
make it, yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen. Matt and Dom from Muse, thanks for watching.
Thank you.